the face that runs the place.
Long live living.
Goodbye and good night.
How's it going, folks? Welcome to another edition of The Kickouts, your weekly pro wrestling guide, right here on 90.3 New FM, on all good podcasting providers, and on the EMC Podcast Network. I'm Dave Cullen, and I'm joined by the man who taught Shinsuke Nakamura how to count to 10, Daragh Maher. Daragh, how are you this afternoon?
Fantastic, Dave. How are you?
I didn't know you. So, are you a speaker of Japanese, or are you just one of these guys who is communicative
No, I taught
English?
Yes,
Yeah.
I taught English. Well, obviously, Shinsuke is having a last man standing match with AJ. There's a count to 10 that needs to be answered. Shinsuke needs to know what number is which, because obviously he doesn't speak English. He's said it so many times, so when English interviewers have gone to him and tried to ask him questions,
Yeah,
he
poor
keeps
Renee
saying
Young.
he doesn't know English. So it's about time he learned something, so I'm giving him something for the match. And so he can count to 10.
His English
Next
certainly
week-
seems to struggle so far,
Next
yeah.
week, Irish.
Irish 10.
Yes.
A hain a do a tree a cahar cu ag a sé seachta ní de.
See, I don't have to teach you. You
don't have to
already
teach
know.
me?
Yeah, you already know.
I feel I said 7 or 8 twice there.
Probably did.
Yeah.
Probably
There you
did.
go. And maybe the lessons excite him so much that he wants a last man standing match instead of going 1, 2, 3 all the time.
Really?
Probably.
Really?
Probably.
Really? Really?
Don't you speak up to 20 up in New Japan though? Must be not his elements then.
Yeah, but that's a quick count, isn't it? But that's for outside the ring.
That's what I mean. Even then.
Yeah.
Oh, he purposely stays outside the ring just for 19.
That's a quick count.
Yeah. Oh, that's a quick count.
So he needed to know that it wasn't a 20 count I needed the answer. It was a 10 count. Because he might be thinking, right, the referee's counting to 20. I can lie down, maybe rebuild some energy a little bit.
Yeah.
So then he needs to know that, okay, once that ref hits 9, you're going to have to get up.
So that's it. So
Yeah.
yeah, but kick to face or fist to groin
Knee to face.
or fist to groin.
Fist to groin. Knee to groin and fist to face.
The way he describes it definitely seems like his English is tipping alright, but or whatever level he's at anyway.
What can you accept? It's not his first language, Dave.
I'm aware of that.
Bit of compassion, please.
He's been here 2 years.
Bit of compassion for the man.
He's been in America 2 years.
He does not want to lose a part of him.
A part
That's where
of him.
he is from, Japan.
It's adding a layer to him.
Sometimes you can add a layer, but to do that, you need to get rid of another
So
one.
if you spoke French, is that taking away from you?
I don't speak French.
If you did,
I don't need to speak French.
if you spoke any language, do you feel it takes away from you?
I speak English, Dave.
You're missing the point.
No.
Or
See,
someone-
it's not just language though. It can be anything. If you add a layer, sometimes you take a layer away because that layer, all those layers together could topple everything over.
Oh, I see.
You need to keep a healthy balance.
I see.
So if you add the layer of adding for Shinsuke of making him learn English, the layer that could lose is maybe he forgets to speak Japanese. Maybe he even forgets what Japan looks like.
That's like the Homer Simpson way of thinking. Every time you learn something you already know comes out of your brain. Like the time
you learn something new, something that you used to know leaves you.
Yeah.
It's a layer. It's like a cake. You put too many layers on the cake, the cake's gonna fall over, Dave.
Like
you
the
don't
time-
want the cake falling over. I'm sorry. The Great British Bake Off is on Netflix. I have been watching a lot of it recently.
but it's like the time you made that you done that winemaking course and you forgot how to drive, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Exactly. We don't talk about that because we can't remember that.
Anyway, we're coming to you live.
I drank a lot of wine, but I learned how to drink a lot of wine, but then I forgot how to remember what happened that night.
Because you were drunk.
See?
It's 'cause you were drunk.
You learn something new and something disappears.
Anyway, we're going off topic big time. We're coming to you live from Near FM Studios in the beautiful North Dublin village of Coolock. I'll be here giving you all the latest news, results, previews, rumours and more from the world of professional wrestling. We'll be giving you all the latest action from WWE and New Japan Pro Wrestling's Best of Super Juniors, and we'll also be previewing events coming up from the likes of CCW, OTT and Low Blows. All that to come, but first we're going to start, as always, with the news.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Also, good news, everyone.
It seems like pro wrestling and reality TV are just stuck together. Like it's become like that concept that this can't get away from each other. So, sort of a new addition to pro wrestling is now happening in reality TV, but more so a familiar reality TV show as opposed to the one that WWE invented. It was confirmed during the week that John Hannigan, formerly known as John Morrison in WWE and currently Johnny Mundo at Lucha Underground, will be part of next season's Survivor from CBS in America. Hannigan, who is one of the contestants highlighted in the preview video for Survivor David vs. Goliath that aired during last Friday night's finale for the most recent season of the show. The reality TV series debuted in 2000 and David vs. Goliath will be its 37th edition. The person who wins the show will receive a $1 million grand prize. Inside Survivor first reported that Hannigan was part of the cast for the season, which filmed in Fuji earlier this year. That was collaborated to do with Hannigan's CageMatch.com profile, also showing a period of in-ring activity that coincided with the film. Survivor host and executive producer Jeff Proerst spoke to Entertainment Weekly about how Hannigan fits into the David and Goliath theme, saying, quote, "This guy that's known as Johnny Mundo, aka John Morrison, the mayor of Slamtown. He's a professional wrestler. He's gigantic, he's charming, and he's smart. He starts with advantage. He has a great family, and he's used to all the skills to sly everybody his entire life." Hannigan is going to be part of the 4th season of Lucha Underground that premieres on June 13th, and he's also working with Impact Wrestling as Johnny Impact. So certainly someone of his, not just his wrestling background, but certainly his athletic background, you think would do very well in that type of show.
Yeah, but this is a sort of survival type show as far as I've never watched a lot of Survivor.
You ever watched any of Survivor before?
No, not really. I'm guessing it's similar to
it's like Big Brother in the Jungle, or
yeah,
it's
I was
like
trying to think that Bear Grylls show where he puts them all on an island and they have to survive or something.
It's like I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. In
just
a way,
less Ant and Dec.
Well, there's no Ant and Dec.
I'm sold.
Ant and Dec are entertaining. But that's another story.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's but this has gone on for years. Like, this is like one of America's first reality TV shows. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it was this and Big Brother.
Wasn't this the show that was like got in a lot of trouble because they actually filmed it in a studio instead of actually in location?
I don't know if it's that one. Like,
I think it was.
Really?
I think it was. Yeah, I think I got in a lot of trouble because people found out that they were not actually on an island trying to survive. They were actually like in a studio.
I can understand how that can make anybody angry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not eating worms; they're eating bacon for their breakfast in a seat beside
Exactly. As soon as
the
those
beach.
cameras turn off, you know.
Yeah.
The only way to get a true experience of reality TV like that is what they used to do with Big Brother, whereas they used to have it on all the time, so people could actually see that they were actually there and stuff like that. Like a channel dedicated like 24 or Survivor to see what they're actually doing.
Imagine if Big Brother happened today with wrestlers.
You mean like that WWE show in your house? Was it in your? No, it was Legends House, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, but
remember
yeah,
that show Legends
yeah,
House?
but this is 24/7 coverage, like it used to have with Big Brother.
Yeah.
How it would have how it would have them showing them being asleep at like 4 a.m. in
Would
E4.
it have to be? I say it'd be a lot of just training, bit of eating, sleeping, training. Maybe if
there has to be a gym in the ring in the back garden, that's for sure.
If Xavier is involved, some gameplay for up, down.
Xavier Woods could be the hosts.
Could be the host.
Yeah, or Austin Creates as well, as we call them that.
But do they stay in kayfabe or out kayfabe?
They would probably be out of kayfabe, or in other words, they'd be themselves. But they
wouldn't go in say as Roman Reigns would be Joe Anatoly.
Yeah, but they could make up tasks, or they could. The illusion with that is because they're wrestlers, they could invent stuff that creates heat for the program that is in storyline, or they could be part of the task.
So Legends House.
So yeah, but that's not 24/7. That's the difference.
Yeah, I know, but you're going along the same lines of Legends House, but you're trying to put in that 24/7 aspect of it.
That's the attraction, or that was that was what it was like for Big Brother. Then I don't know. Would you watch that?
Legends House?
Well, if they had like a Legends House 24/7.
no one would watch 24/7.
Well, the point is, like, it has its highlights every evening at 8 o'clock, like it used to have in Big Brother.
Yeah, probably. Like I
But it shows.
I was really entertained when I watched Legends House. I thought it was really good.
I know, but
I wish they did more of that.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe they do.
Instead of people we don't know, strangers who come out of nowhere.
Exactly.
Trainee
Or don't
wrestlers.
care about. You know.
Who knows?
You know.
Goes to show you. We'll move on anyway.
Dave,
so
I think we're missing thing. Let's just get like a load of
we've
wrestlers.
gone off the point a lot.
Let's just get a load of Irish wrestlers here and put them all in a house and see what happens.
No, that'd watch.
You know, get like Paul Tracy, and then we'll get like we'll get Lee Callahan, and then we get Tucker, and then we get Jordan Devlin, and then we get a few of the up and coming, maybe like Gunter Isaac, and then we get Michael May.
It has to be a
and
mix.
stuff.
No, it has to be a mix. It can't be just everyone from, let's say, Fight Factory or everyone from
I
main
did.
stage. I know. So
I said CCW,
Okay,
and I said PWU,
all right.
yeah.
All right. So then, I don't know who you could put in then.
And then you put in like maybe like Raven Creed, and you put in Deborah Keitel as well. You put in like Kate Harvey and Phil Boyd, and then you can put in like who else there? You can put in like Vic Viper
That's a
and
great
Billy
idea.
Bedlam and stuff.
No, that's a great idea. Actually,
Yeah.
that's something they should do. They should do a night just for a week or something
Just
like
for a
that, and raise money for charity for it or something like that. That's an idea.
That is an idea. But whose house? Not mine. I'm not letting my house get dirtied up. Your house, Dave.
I haven't got a house.
Dave, your house.
We'll move on that note. Some news concerning New Japan's G1 special.
Yes, Access TV is expected to announce that they will be airing the July 7th New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 special show at the Cow Palace in San Francisco live. It was expected that it would be the case that the show was announced with a 5 p.m. local start time, meaning it was designed for primetime viewing on the East Coast. The name of the show will be G1 Special in San Francisco, and the official headliners of the show are, of course, New Japan's Big Four, that being Okada, Omega, Tanahashi and Naito. The Young Bucks are also officially booked for the show. Jim Ross and Josh Barnett will return as announcers.
The thing is about the announcers, like Jim Ross and Josh Barnett were given a lot of criticism, like about
For the last show especially.
for the last show.
Yeah.
Why would they and I imagine it's been talked about a lot. Why would nothing against Ross and Barnett, but why would they not go with Kevin Kelly and Don Callis, who in my opinion are the best commentary team in wrestling at the moment?
Because it's an access thing, I think.
Oh, so
Yeah.
they're contractually.
Yeah.
How to say this?
Contractually obliged
Thank
to
you.
get Ross and Barnett because they have contracts with Access TV.
Yeah, I suppose in that
I'm
case.
sure if you wanted to watch on the New Japan website or something on New Japan World, the English commentary might be actually Kevin Kelly and Don Callis. Sorry.
So if you watch it on New Japan,
Yeah, New Japan World. Maybe I don't know. I don't know how it works.
I don't think that would be the case.
But yeah, it's in America. It's on Access TV. It's Access TV rules. Who they want is who they want. You know.
It certainly is another step towards, because I feel like they're going to be doing this every year now. Because as far as
it was a big success last year.
Yeah, but you get the sense now that New Japan they're trying to put their foot down in America now, or internationally certainly.
Well,
so.
I think the new president of New Japan Pro Wrestling is some I can't remember his name, some Dutch guy or something like that.
He's Dutch?
Yeah, I think so. Not like you know, like the present and behind things of like accounts and whatever.
Yeah.
He's making he's targeting like America and stuff like that because he says that they only take in like 5% of what WWE take in annually.
Yeah.
So they're like, for a promotion this good, it's nowhere near enough. So he's going to start pushing them to all different territories.
Yeah. I think I heard him saying on some report that they're comparing their stats compared to WWE's and their 7th or 10th of income and stuff like that. So and they want to reach those figures. So you have to admire their ambition. Harold Meij, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah.
Meij. Harold Meij.
Meij. Meij.
Yeah, Harold Meij.
Mage?
Yeah, the
Mage.
president and CEO of New Japan.
Yeah.
There you go. So, it's cool. Whatever you do, don't book it, because Kado's doing a good job. That's all I can say to that. Because he's the best booker in the last couple of years, as far as I can see. On that note, let's move on. There's a lot of back and forth last year about Io Shirai, but who's considered one of the biggest women's wrestlers, certainly in Japan, but looks like she's now heading to WWE. Tokyo Sports reported on Monday that Shirai will be going to WWE, and her final show with Stardom will be June 17th. Sources close to her have confirmed this story. Shirai, real name Masami Odate, age 28, was named Japanese Women's MVP for 3 years in a row. 2015 to 2017. She was first contacted by WWE in October 2016. Both herself and Kairi Hojo, now Kairi Sane, went back and forth on deals since the WWE contracts were for less money than they were making, but they were convinced the inside of becoming stars outside of Japan was very intriguing. She finally accepted the deal last May. However, a heart issue was discovered by WWE Medical Examining, and they took back the deal last June, and therefore she returns to Stardom. However, she went through a full medical examination in Japan and was fully cleared and became the top star in the company ever since. She has lost the Wonder of Stardom title to Momo Watanabe last Wednesday night, which started rumours of her being WWE bound. However, in that case, one had nothing to do with the other, as the booking plan was for Watanabe, who they hope to be a future star, with the win needed at the time. The promotion, however, wasn't aware until Shiri leaving until only last Sunday. Besides Shiri and Toni Storm, who has signed a UK contract with WWE, the company has made offers to other Stardom wrestlers, and with the Mae Young Classic 2 coming up this summer, the Stardom 5-star tournament has lost several wrestlers who were originally parts of it. So it's a loss for them, but at the same time, it's a huge coup for WWE.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know much about Shiri. I haven't seen any of her matches.
I've seen a couple of her matches. She's as good as Asuka.
Really?
Or if not better.
Interesting. So what would you expect her to be in the Mae Young Classic and then straight to NXT after that?
Exactly, yeah. As much as I like, again, it's the same reason why they brought Asuka to NXT, like the language barrier.
Yeah.
Like, if there's any international stars or TNA stars to just see what they have, what it takes, they put them straight into NXT. The only exceptions to that is if they're New Japan guys who speak English, or as their first language, such as the only exception to that was probably Finn Balor. That's because he probably wasn't as big as the stars like the likes of an AJ Styles or the Gallows and Anderson. Certainly Gallows was in WWE before. So, but in this case, it just makes a lot of sense. So, certainly the women's tournament looks like it's taking shape. Especially with Toni Storm in there now as well. So
yeah.
So, it's very interesting. I had no idea she had a heart condition going into it, though. So
I heard about that last year.
I must have missed that.
And obviously it was pretty upsetting. A lot of people were upset that she couldn't make it, but it's great to see now that she will.
Yeah.
All the best to her. All the luck in the world.
Absolutely. So again, that's gonna leave way more anticipation for the Mae Young Classic if she's involved. She'll probably get the biggest pot. It's between her and Toni Storm again, I imagine. But I imagine because she's new.
Well, it depends on who else gets announced.
That's very true.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll move on to MMA news now for a change. This is because of a recent retiree.
Exactly. Former UFC middleweight champion Michael Bisping will become the latest fighter to attempt to retire, announcing his intentions on his podcast on Monday. Bisping said that health is a driving factor as he started seeing flashes in his left eye after a knockout loss to Kelvin Gastelum late last year. He was diagnosed with a vitreous detachment, which he says puts him at risk for a detached retina, the same injury he suffered in his right eye. He said he was still planning on fighting Rashad Evans in London this month, but after watching a movie about a fighter who suffers a major injury and health declines when he refused to stop fighting, he decided to call it a career. Best known for being a great promo and essentially an MMA heel during the boom period of the UFC, the 39-year-old finally reached the mountaintop in June 2016 by knocking out then champion Luke Rockhold at UFC 199 to capture his first and only UFC title. That fight came in a stretch where he defeated Anderson Silva, Rockhold and Dan Henderson before losing the belt to the returning George St. Pierre at UFC 217 last November. He made an ill-advised return just 3 weeks later against Gastelum in Shanghai and lost via first round knockout. He finishes up his pro career with a staggering 30 wins and 9 losses, having started in 2004. He made it to the UFC in 2006 as part of the Ultimate Fighter Season 3 cast and moved to middleweight after a handful of fights at light heavyweight, including the names above. Bisping fought a who's who of including Evans, Wanderlei Silva, Brian Stan, JL Sutton, Victor Belfort and Chris Lieben.
You certainly can't look back at how awesome his career has been. He has fought a who's who for sure. And although a lot of those fighters he came up short in, he always came in fighting. One thing we can appreciate as wrestling fans, he was a great talker.
Yeah, he was, and like you said in the report, he is a great promo, and he's a fantastic analyst as well, because he works on Fox now and does.
That's
the
right.
analyst
Yeah,
afterwards.
I've seen the banter him and Daniel Cormier have at times, like so they're always at each other over that.
So
So
he is really, really good with an analysis, and he's got a job for life there, I think, in Fox too. So I don't see him separating himself from the world of MMA. He'll definitely still be around for years and years to come, and you never know.
Can you ever imagine?
He might come back again.
I can't imagine him fighting, but can you imagine him, because of his promo skills, ever being associated? He's obviously not wrestling at all, like not physically wrestling. He's not. It's beyond his health.
Like sort of like a promo. No,
even commentator.
No.
No.
He I don't think so.
It would probably be a local tag, maybe not WWE, but somewhere like a Progress or something like that could do something like that. Maybe.
I wouldn't think
it's a
so.
stretch. I know.
I wouldn't hold my breath for that stuff.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. All the same, but all the same, he's had a great career. I've admired him for years. Like I watched that season of The Ultimate Fighter, like, you know, and like, although he seemed like a bit of a lame, like for us is because he's probably more relatable because because he has a similar background, because he's from Liverpool.
Yeah.
And he has that working class background, which, you know, and you see that, and that's not to say that the American fighters didn't have that, but because he's closer to home, we're like, oh well, it's good to see him doing well, you know. And this is like, but wait, this is years before.
To be fair, I wasn't his biggest fan, especially I remember around UFC 200. Obviously, because he played the heel so well, like he didn't want them to like you, and then he had that fight with Dan Henderson, and I think everyone was the same as me. They were so happy to see him get knocked out the way he did.
That was UFC 100, yeah.
Oh, 100, not 200.
Yeah, we got his head knocked off.
Yeah, pretty much. But like, as his career's gone on, like when he won the middleweight title, I remember, against Rockhold, that was he was actually a late replacement, because it was I think it was Weidman that was meant to be fighting him, and then he had to pull out through injury.
You're right.
So yeah, great for him. Great. He'll have a great career. He had a great career. He will continue to have a good career as an analyst on Fox.
Yeah.
And you know, best of luck.
All power to him.
You know,
so. On that case, we'll move on now, and we'll go back now to the New Japan Pro Wrestling's Best of the Super Juniors, which is now still on the way in Japan, and now it's getting extremely close now, with only 2 rounds left in each block. As of this writing now, here's how the series has been played out so far after 10 nights of action. In Block A at the moment, you have Flip Gordon, Taiji Ishimura, Tiger Mask 4, and Will Ospreay each having 6 points each. Having won 3 of the respective 5 matches, which leaves Yo, Bushi, Yoshinobu, Keimaru, and ICH with 4 points. It's Flip who takes the lead at the moment, thanks to his victories against Ishimura last week and Tiger Mask on night 7 in Nagoya, and this is also despite losing to Yo from Roppongi 3K on night 9 of Tohigi, where he is currently the best of the 4-pointers, ahead of Bushi, Keimaru, and ACH. So he's 5th at the moment because of his head-to-head record. And the reason Flip is on the top at the moment is because he's beaten Ishimura and Tiger Mask. He's yet to face Ospreay. That could be a real difference maker now when that match happens.
Yeah.
In Block B at the moment, it's the same scoreboard. Like it's 4 wrestlers for 6 and 4 wrestlers for 4, with Takahashi, Kushida, Skrull, and Dragon Lee on 6 points, while Chris Sabin, El Desperado, Taguchi, and Sho are on 4 points. But it's Takahashi who has the lead at the moment after victories against Taguchi and Chris Sabin. This is despite losing to Dragon Lee in an excellent match they had. They always have fantastic matches. Those two. That's like a rivalry that's never gonna not deliver. It's like a Zayn Owens or a Okada Omega sort of thing. It's never not gonna deliver. Their match took place at night 8 in Osaka. Kushida is right behind Takahashi in second after victories over Sho and El Desperado, and despite feat to Taguchi also in Osaka. Marty Skrull's back in the mix as well. He lost his first 2 and now he's back in the race now.
3 in a row now.
Yeah, he's in third now as well. So it's anybody's game right now. I mean,
it's so close. I think now we'll see that everything. We'll start to see the main guys pull away. I think
so.
Yeah.
I think so. No, but even so, it can go either way because I don't know. Like the big match in Block A I'm looking at now is Ospreay and Gordon. Like whoever wins that, I think is definitely is a huge favourite to go through. I don't know if that match is next in the block, but it's going to be a real difference maker in how goes that one. And as for the other 2, The other
It will
group,
come down, I think, to Kushida and Takahashi. Then
well, they've
next
yet to
Sunday.
face each other as well.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the difference in that one, I
Yeah.
think. So
It's interesting. We'll have to look it up, but I think it's interesting. What will the last night of group matches be? For each group, or each block, I should say, and then we'll probably get an idea then of who is in the running to go through and who isn't.
So we've both picked Takahashi and Ospreay to be in the final, or at least I picked for both of us.
Just won't get over that, will you? It's just you're just so salty, so salty right now.
It is what it is.
It's not as if we're going head to head on this one,
I suppose,
right?
but still. But anyway, but beside the point, like, you know,
My mouth was so dry. with
Ah,
all
right,
that salt
sorry.
that you're throwing at me.
take a sip of water.
It's not like I'm a snail. You're trying to dissolve me.
Well, the water's not going to help if you dissolve. So, do you still think it's going to be Ospreay and Takahashi that meet each other in the final?
Yeah, why not?
Flip Gordon and Ishimori, though.
Yeah, I know,
And
but
Kushida.
it's both of their first, isn't it? Best of Super Juniors, isn't it? It's Flip's first. Is Ishimori been on before?
Ishimori, I don't think so.
No, so it's their first. I think give them a good run, and then maybe next year they might actually have a challenge for the top.
That's not really a Tiger Mask either. I mean, like, he could easily go through as well. And that's not really a Skrull or Dragon Lee either. Like, you know, especially
Yeah,
Dragon Lee
sure.
beating Takahashi. That could be a huge difference maker. Because like he has a victory over Takahashi, which could play in his favor if let's say the level in points
Yeah.
with certain people, because he has that victory over him. So who knows? That's what makes these sort of things really interesting. You never know what's going to happen. But in that case, let's move on. Some really interesting news now. So this is something now. Imagine we both heard the podcast for this, but now it's coming into a court case now.
Yes, even though one of the legal combatants is set to compete in UFC in less than 2 weeks, the trial of Phil Brooks, otherwise known as CM Punk, and Scott Colton, otherwise known as Colt Cabana, versus WWE Dr. Chris Amann began on Tuesday in Cook County Courthouse in Chicago, Illinois. Amann, is it Amann? I think it's Amann, not Amann, because Amann is obviously EA. Amann filed a defamation suit against Brooks and Colton in February 2015 following comments the two made on Cabana's podcast back in November 2014. Brooks claimed that, among other things, that Amann dismissed a growth on his back that eventually turned into a staph infection. Brooks is set to open up the pay-per-view portion of the UFC 225 event against Mike Jackson on Saturday, June the 9th. Now, there was a lot of talk for a while because this case wasn't going to happen because they're going to try
First
and
time hearing of
settle
it.
outside of court, but obviously they couldn't. So yeah, the first case was the first day was just yesterday, I believe, and they spent the whole day, the jury, obviously everyone in court, listening to the podcast itself. So it's quite an interesting case to see.
I
how it
heard
goes.
a report from it that although CM Punk is very serious with the whole thing, like, you know, there was stages where he was laughing at parts of the podcast. It probably obviously wasn't at that stage I mentioned.
Yeah, and Colt Cabana has actually had to cancel one of his bookings. I think Cultamania. I think.
Really?
Yeah, he's had to cancel that. I think on June the 9th or something.
So that's a self promotion as well. That's even worse.
It's because of the court case itself. So obviously still nothing yet about CM Punk having to cancel his fight against Mike Jackson, but just keep an ear out for that in case something does pop up.
It's certainly very interesting, though. I know exactly the part of the podcast they're talking about as well, where he claims he had that like
I
bump
think the
that
podcast was deleted, wasn't it?
No, it's in so many different places at this stage now.
I'm
so.
sure you could get it, yeah. But I think officially, Colt took it off his podcast network.
Really?
I think so.
I doubt it. If it's not on, well, I heard it on YouTube, and I'd be shocked if it's removed off there, unless
No, talking about through his official.
through his.
I'm sure it's on
through his
other
links.
aspects on it, but I'm talking about his official one itself.
Well, imagine you've heard it.
Oh, of
Obviously,
course
at this
I have.
stage,
Yeah, of course I have.
I know. Yeah, it's the part where he claims he had this like bump and
It
eventually
was
turned into a
the-
baseball.
It was not.
Or into an orange.
It was the thing that you couldn't miss.
Yeah.
You know, that podcast hearing about CM Punk talk since he left and stuff. Obviously, he spent a lot of time giving out about the likes of Triple H and Ryback and stuff, and he was the one that formed the Shield and everything. So.
Yeah.
So there was a lot. Obviously, there's a lot of details in that podcast itself, but obviously they're going to aim more towards what he said about the then or the still WWE Doctor.
So we'll see what happens anyway.
Chris Amann.
Chris Amann.
Amann.
Chris. Well, it just sounds
Amann.
fun. Well, it just sounds funny that Amann files.
Amen.
Yeah, but it just sounds funny that Amann files an infringement case. So
Who? Amann.
Amann.
Who?
Amann.
Yeah, I need to know who though. Amann.
Amann.
Who? Amann.
No, just Amann.
Who? I need a name. I need a. What's
It's
the
Mr. Amann.
No, don't be silly with me. What's his actual name? No, come on.
Chris Amann.
Yeah, anyone can say Chris. Anyone. What's his actual name, please?
Chris. I'm just going to say Chris because if I said his surname, we'll have this problem for a while.
Yeah.
Let's move on that case. Now, we're going to give you some funny bits and pieces, just short bits of news for the last bit. Now, Progress held their Chapter 7, their 70 show, just gone last weekend, but they did it with a very, very brilliant twist, if you ask me, because I think a lot of wrestling promotions should do this. Especially OTT, because imagine how amazing it would be if OTT did this. They did a show as if it was set in 1978, which I think is brilliant because they renamed all the wrestlers and they actually made it like as if it was in 1978.
So they brought basically Southpaw regional wrestling to the ring,
if you like.
Yeah.
Or probably just a bit before that, but they renamed all the wrestlers. The funniest twist of all, that because they tried to bring back the culture of what it was like in the 78. So for example, they had a women's match scheduled between Nina Samuels and Isla Dawn, but as they made their way to the ring, the crowd booed them because apparently women's wrestling was barred in London in 1978, and then Progress Management announced that they've defined the band and both women are allowed to compete, and they drew a cheer, and that was the match. So just stuff like that. But they've named all like Jordan Devlin, for example. So they called Jordan Devlin Fighting Irish, typically, and they called El Fantasmo Shiny Disco Balls. So they give them all these weird nicknames.
Yeah.
And they called instead
mutton chops everywhere.
They called Travis Banks and TK Cooper the Sheepwhackers. There's so many funny names. They called I don't know. They called Mark Haskins and Flash Morgan Webster the Mob and the Rocker. Sorry, the Mods and the Rocker.
Yeah.
They called Drake and Zach Gibson Kings of Europe. And so they called Aussie Open the Ballabong Boys. They called Jimmy Havoc Jizzy Jizborn.
Jesus.
I know. They called Adam Brooks the King of Bongans. They called Jack Sexsmith AJ Street Smith. Imagine how cool that would be if they had like a show like OTT, even Five Factory, where they had like a 1978 gimmick for everybody. The trouble is that would be bad for, let's say, Justine and Alexander Dean, because their gimmick is from before that, I imagine. So
true, actually, but they can modernize it to the 1970s.
Still, it's so funny. Yeah, like it gives themselves let's say Justin came out in like some sort of Saturday Night Fever costume, and Alexander Dean came out with wooden chops and an afro, and then I don't know, you had Valkyrie come out in roller skates, stuff like that. There's an image for you.
I say do it.
Make it happen.
Dave, book it.
I'm not the booker.
Dave, book it.
And that we're giving people ideas. On that note, now did you see the trailer between with Kenny Omega?
I did. He looked class.
I don't know much about Street Fighter. I'm a Tekken guy for life, but the most ironic thing about this is there's a character named Cody, and he's the image of Cody Rhodes. Yeah, with the suit and the blonde hair. Is that Street Fighter? Is that just a coincidence, or? I think it's a coincidence. A very ironic coincidence. Yeah, it's a very ironic one, but it is just a coincidence. The funniest thing as well, it sounds like Xavier Woods on the other end of the phone. So it's really funny. Like, it's all over YouTube. Just go Street Fighter 5 trailer. Just check it out. And it's really good. It's a really good trailer. He's not in it for long. I thought maybe he was going to voice the character as well, but he doesn't. So. It's just that scene. It's just that. But even so, like how many guys get a trailer like that? Exactly. Especially wrestlers. Exactly. And finally, the only other bit to bring up is Ring of Honor, who recently did their European tour. They're going to be returning to the UK in August, later on this year, for their Honoured Reunited tour that's going to be in the same cities, Edinburgh, Doncaster and London. It went down with a huge success. I don't know if you've seen Being the Elites. I did. This week. I feel so bad for SoCal and Censors. They hate it everywhere. They hate it everywhere. Well, go back to SoCal then. Yeah.
If they don't like it so much, they can just go back.
Edinburgh's a lovely city. I've been to Edinburgh before, by the way.
No.
It's a gorgeous city, like, you know.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go to Glasgow, but for a sightseeing holiday, go to Edinburgh. I haven't been to Doncaster. I've been to London ages ago, but still, like, you know, so it's great. So more to check out for Ring of Honor in the UK. Like, they're doing very well internationally, aren't they? So
They are, yes.
So we'll have to see what happens there. Anyway, that's all our news. So we're going to take a quick break. When we return, we will start off our results of the week with WWE Raw.
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows, visit electronicmediacollective.com.
We're back here on the Kickouts, your weekly pro wrestling guides. Now let's continue our show with our results of the week.
Oh my God! What the hell is going on? Oh my God!
And we're going to start it off with, as always, with Monday Night Raw.
Welcome to Monday Night Raw.
It starts off with Braun Strowman coming out. He's probably the most over guy on Raw right now. You could argue by the way the crowd reacts to him.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
He comes out saying he's motivated by Money in the Bank, saying that'll give him a title shot, and he promises to destroy the others and become the monster in the back, and how no one can stop him, and Brock Lesnar will eventually get these hands. Here comes Finn Balor meanwhile.
I thought it was interesting, though, just before you move on. He says that he'll get a title opportunity whenever he wants, wherever he wants. No, you won't, Braun. You'll get it whenever Brock decides to show up.
Yeah. You could always follow him around UFC.
Could do.
Can you imagine Braun Strowman being in at ringside and barges through everybody and that, like, and he's bigger than anybody, so, like,
I'm sure the rules of the contract state it has to be a WWE event, but it would be cool.
Still,
hardcore title type source.
Exactly.
Scenario,
I don't know if that'll happen, but, like, it will still be a sight if Braun Strowman was in attendance and giving them.
Yeah, giving them the evils.
Giving
like,
them
was it Taker was in attendance at Brock Lesnar UFC show just before they had their match at WrestleMania?
Yeah, when he lost the title to Cain Velasquez. So
was it then? Was it that fight?
Yeah, because it's when
fight that he won.
It's when they eyed each other, and it's when the Undertaker's being interviewed.
Do you want to go?
Yeah, that was after he lost to Cain Velasquez. So, but anyway, Balor arrives, reminding everyone that he was again the first Universal Champion. How he lost the title, and he never lost the title. Plans to take it back. And he gave Braun everything he have, but Money in the Bank, it's going to be 6 others involved. And Braun then says, well, you know, he put up a really good fight for a little man. Balor slaps him, to the shock of everybody, because no one slaps Braun Strowman.
Yeah, just don't call Balor little, then that's obviously the thing.
Braun jumps him to the floor, and Kurt immediately makes a match, admiring the intensity of the match, and then booked Braun versus Balor 2, aka Finn and the Braun Stock 2, which is actually a class match. Like, you know, they're like Braun Strowman. Like,
Finn and the giant Braun Stock. Is that what it means?
No, you're thinking of James and the Giant Peach. It's Jack and the Beanstalk.
Oh yeah, Finn and the Braun Stock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
This time, Finn and the Braun Stock 2, Balor's Revenge, or something like that. So, but no, it was actually looked like Balor was about to beat him now because he got some. But the funniest thing as well, here's Kevin Owens in commentary, giving the house mix on everything and encouraging both Strowman. Okay, you have him now. And then when Balor's on top, okay, you have him now. And then when it looked like Balor was going to go for a second coup de grace, out comes Owen and causes disqualification. So it was a good match, like, you know. Like they both did a good job in playing the size dynamic, like, you know, but which made the match really good because there's such a huge height and size difference between the two, and it worked fine because it didn't hurt either of them, like, you know.
I think that's these past 2 weeks have been like a great audition for Finn, in terms of saying, like, you can put him in a program with Brock and he'll do well.
But here's the thing as well, which I think WWE are sort of looking at Balor in the sense. Now remember how angry I was when he was booked the way he was booked last year with Kane.
Yep.
I don't think they're doing that with him anymore. I think now they're starting to see
that was to get Kane over.
I understand that,
but it was just at the expense of the wrong person. Obviously, in their minds, it was.
But in this case, you'd think that Braun Strowman would be the guy that's unbeatable. And by and large he is. I mean, no one is as big and as strong and as he is, but they're still putting Balor over in the sense as well by causing a DQ win, and almost won.
Yeah.
By and large against Braun Strowman here. Despite how, and it was a close match last week as well, like until Braun just caught him and power slammed him.
Yeah.
So it shows like they're starting to book him like step by step. And although we're not, we said last week how, you know, he's there when ready. Like they're building him up very slowly but surely. So the way I see it,
Yeah.
agree with that.
I'd agree. I would agree.
Owens attacked Balor with a ladder afterwards, but Strowman cuts him off and chases him and almost hitting Owens for the ladder from distance. This close to getting him, by the way. Owens escaped and was looking for the keys of his car, but Angle then arrived and booked him against Bobby Roode's. Someone was on a stretcher in the background, by the way.
Yeah, who was that?
I have no idea. It's so strange.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a lot to think there.
Okay.
Anyway, Seth Rollins...
Maybe someone was actually hurt.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe someone backstage like fell or something and was actually hurt.
Ironic timing, isn't it? Anyway.
Oh, of course.
Seth Rollins versus Jinder Mahal for the IC title, aka the Omfits. Now, before this happens, Elias played in the ring, was in the ring to play into it. He runs down the crowd as always, calling them disgusting. But this time he was like trying to get the light changed so they can't see him. Listen, guys, I'm disturbed by the crowds here. Hey, Lance, can you put the light on me only this time? I thought that was brilliant. Mm-hmm. He should have done that more often ages ago. But it's cool that they saved that. Only even till now. Yeah. But he stalled for the whole time and threatened to leave until eventually Rollins interrupted, threw his stool out of the ring, and then the match was on between Rollins and Mahal. Good. It was a good match actually. It was a strong layout. And believe it or not, the interference in the end helped.
Yeah, birthday boy Rollins as well.
Yeah, how old is he now actually? Must be. Imagine he's in his 30s now. Only 32.
32, honestly. Maybe 31. Around that ballpark. I remember him having a podcast with Jericho recently, and he was saying like, "Oh, I just turned 30." I don't know if that was 1 year ago or 2 years ago.
Either way.
Yeah.
Still a good age for wrestling anyway.
Exactly.
But anyway, the finish was...
Gives us hope, Dave.
Gives us hope. Here's me turning 30 next year. You're still behind, you're fine.
Shh, Dave, don't say that.
Listen.
Stop giving away your age.
No. I'll mind it. Listen, just think of it this way. I'm not going to say your age, but just think of it this way. No matter how old you think you are, I'll always be older. Simple as that. Does that make you feel better?
Thank you, Dave.
Does that make you feel better?
Thank you, Dave. Yeah.
Rollins fires up, looks for the blackout, but then Singh trips up Rollins, and then Mahal grabs a chair and lays out Rollins, covering for two. Then Mahal's back and Rollins tosses him in, and Buckle bombs him into Mahal, which actually was very funny. And then Rollins lost his cool and grabbed the chair and brought it in and nailed Mahal for the DQ. And it was a great reaction. The heat for this was actually really, really good, like, you know, so... Yeah. The only thing, like, I'd say, like, was it necessary to have two back-to-back DQs? Or it was just a coincidence? Like, in this, like, they're both different types of DQs. One lost his cool, one was added its fuel to a fire in a match.
I don't know. I think yeah, you only need one DQ max, but
maybe it's overthinking.
Possibly.
Post-match, Rollins attacked Mahal with a chair until he retreated. Then, out of nowhere, Elias nailed Rollins with his guitar, sending him off the announce table to the floor. And they tried to stretch him out afterwards, but he refused, walking back with a bit of a reunion with R&R Security. Jamie Noble was right beside him, picking him up.
Yeah. J&J, wasn't it?
Sorry, J&J.
Yeah, you got me confused there. It's like R&R? Who was R&R?
I don't know. I was trying to think, why did they say R&R? J&J, I got confused.
Yeah.
So there was no Joey, but Jamie was there.
Yes. Yeah, Joey does his own thing now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Now, what does Joey do nowadays, actually?
I think he's just working more on the indie scene now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's working on the indie scene. He still wrestles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair play to him.
Yeah.
Nia Jax then had her exhibition of sorts, where Ronda Rousey taking a seat at commentary to watch Nia Jax's exhibition. So she had her jobber, who was Mandy Max, put her in an arm bar and she powerbombed her to escape. And here's Nia just basically explaining, listen, this is what happens when you put an arm bar on me, and this is what's going to happen to you. She then continues to talk crap and then nails a Samoan drop and a leg drop and says her leg could crush a woman's chest and then hit the rolling senton. Very impressive, by the way.
Yeah.
Nia then tells Ronnie to come to the ring and headbutt the poor jobber. Ronda arrives and makes fun, but Nia makes fun of Ronda's intimidating look, but then she says she's not afraid and calls it cute and leaves. What I like about this is how puzzled that Rousey was at the end. I think she might be thinking, oh wait, hold on a second, no woman's ever done this to me. They're always scared, or they've always been a bit. They've never seen my aggression as cute.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a...
I'm just not into this at all.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not into this at all.
Well, the main purpose of this is designed to make Jax the heel again. In that case, has it worked? Like, you know, or do you think like...
Why are they trying to make Jax the heel again? They only just turned their face.
Yeah, like that's what I was thinking. Like, why not continue as it is now, where they were face against face? Mm-hmm. Like, unless they don't want a situation where Stephanie
it's
talks
because
about...
Vince hates face versus face. Look at how disappointing the WrestleMania match between Shinsuke and AJ was, because it was a face versus a face. It's just I think they don't know how to book those sort of matches. That's the problem. You know, you can have a face versus face match in New Japan, which they're probably going to have, which is pretty much what they're having with Okada and Omega,
more or less.
And we know that match is going to be fantastic.
But at the end of the day, the difference between Okada and Omega is that they both have heelish tendencies at times. Mm-hmm. Like Okada comes across...
see, that's the perfect thing. See, tendencies is fine, but they don't play off that. You know, they don't... That's what WWE won't do. They won't play off those heelish tendencies unless they are turning one of them heel.
Well, would you not argue the points then, rather than Nia being turned as a full-on heel, it's just her showing heelish tendencies about what she can do to Rousey, as opposed to being a full-on heel? Or did that smart to book it that way?
That would be smart booking, but as we know...
But are we giving them too much credit here for thinking that that's what they're actually doing?
What?
Are we giving them too much credit and actually thinking that that's what they're actually doing then? When
too much credit, man. They're not going to do that.
Yeah,
they're going to turn Nia heel, because they're not going to turn Ronda heel. No way.
At least not now, anyway.
No way. Yeah.
Anyway, we won't talk about Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy against Ascension. I described the match as the wonderful urinal, for obvious reasons.
Yes. Yeah.
It was
the ultimate deletion of wee from my bladder.
Bobby Roode against Kevin Owens, aka the Cannonball that will never give in, never get win, and so on. This actually was a good match.
Yeah.
Solid match, clean work. Like
I'm just still not sure what they're doing with Bobby. I'm still not sure.
Maybe they're still trying to find his place.
I think he is. And I don't know why they persist. Speaking of, like, obviously, I think being silly that turning Nia heel, the clear person to turn heel in this would be Bobby Roode. He works so much better as a heel in NXT.
I agree.
As a face, he struggled on SmackDown, and he's struggling again here on Raw.
Maybe. The thing is as well with this, like, you know, because like sometimes you find that, like, especially on Raw, that they have so many superstars and so many really good superstars that are big names, that it doesn't seem like they know what they're doing, or at least have a huge idea what they want to do with them, unless they're top level.
Yeah,
and that's, I think, is a problem they've had now for regardless, like, you know, because if you go back to maybe, like, they could look at someone like a John, like the main eventers, and maybe a couple of other key storylines. Besides that, they sort of figure out their own thing. Bar the odd writer working bit here and there, but beyond that, like, what would they be doing?
I don't know about giving them their own thing.
I know.
You saw that report during the week about the leaked promo about the barbecue.
Well, I didn't mean,
and the fact that they give this whole list, like, it's very strict. There's no ad lib. One of the bullet points says, do not let talent ad lib. They have to stick to the script.
Oh, okay.
So I think I think it's meticulously planned, but to the point where it just becomes robotic and uninteresting.
Yeah, and that's probably where Roode is at the moment, so that's what I mean. Yeah. Like, you know, they have him in this situation where
I think it's different on NXT.
He's there, but he's not there.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean. He's in the mix, but he's not at the top. He's nowhere near the top. He's just outside the top.
Exactly.
If you like.
Yeah.
Owens is probably just around the top because he has that draw now. Because he's Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
You know, like, so. But anyway, it ended when Roode countered the pop-up powerbomb, and then Kevin gets the Bulldog Cradle for the win. Then Braun arrives and lays out Kevin. Power Slam follows, and then follows with Braun power slamming Roode, sending another message for Money in the Bank as well. Now, Sami Zayn apologizes for his awful promo, and actually, no, it was a bad promo, but With his old man glasses, he comes out and says, he reads a prepared statement. There's a classic example of ad-lib right there, if you like. Commenting on the negative reaction as brutal, cringeworthy and embarrassing, making fun of the fans. He said he lied and reveals that those weren't Lashley's sisters. Duh. In fact, they were men. Although he did say that everything he said was true because the stories were rooted in reality, and as an artist he knows many just didn't understand. History will look back at the segment favourably, and we should feel sorry for him because he deserves better. Lashley comes out saying that this is getting old and challenged Sami to a match at Money in the Bank. They shakes hands with Sami saying to him rather sarcastically, "Oh, well, you know what, I promise I'll hoover kick the smile right off your face." Then Lashley tries to crush Sami's hand off before apologising for everything he'll do to him Money in the Bank. I like that promo to an extent. I just hope the match is better than the angle. I like that they've been doing, certainly last week.
Yeah.
And it could be a good match.
Could be.
Could be.
Let's wait and see. I don't hold my breath for that.
Drew McIntyre versus Chad Gable, aka Drew's Waddy. I mean, it was a solid squash, although Gable, fair play to Gable, he sold his ass off in this match.
Yeah.
But they made McIntyre look very good.
They really are
very
setting
good
up for this Jason Jordan thing, aren't they?
No, you actually think it's the case now?
Yeah, I think so.
You don't
Who else is going to come out and help Chad?
Dave, what?
Who else is going to come out and help Chad Gable next week when he gets attacked again?
Yeah, true.
You know?
It makes sense. I mean, surely it's better than the stuff he was doing with Kurt Angle, though.
Yeah, but are they going to try and brush that under the rug?
I don't think so. Like, it's going to be back, but just not now.
Okay.
And if they're putting over Jason Jordan, it'll help.
True.
It only makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, going back to the B team's tag team barbecue. It was just B team puns like B lonely sandwiches and what did they say for the hot dogs again?
I can't remember.
Beans.
I forgot about it.
And basically B team made a case for a title shot. Titus, by the way, I love Titus's shirt, by the way.
Oh yeah,
slip and slide, and like it was
the greatest slip and slide or something like that.
Yeah. He runs down the quality of the menu, and all the teams basically have a go at B team for cutting the line. Eventually breaks out predictably in the food fights, where eventually the B team puts Rhino through a table.
Yay!
And they announced next week that there'll be a number one contenders tag team battle royale to decide the challengers for the tag titles at Money in the Bank. Yeah. Also next week, Balor will take on Owen, Strowman will take on Rude, and Natalya will take on Jax. Natalya and Jax is interesting considering the Rousey angle. And the main event, the Money in the Bank qualifier gauntlet match. Liv Morgan, Bayley, Sarah Logan, Ruby Riott, Dana Brooke, Mickie James, and Sasha Banks, in that order. Bayley eliminated Morgan straight away. She eventually then eliminated Logan, but then Liv and Logan worked together and laid out Bayley for Ruby Riott, who quickly beat her down with a Riott kick. Dana Brooke then got cut off by Bayley, eliminator kick. Mickie James comes out, all Wonder Woman. Yeah, if you like.
Nice design, but doesn't really fit in with her character at the moment.
Country woman.
Not country woman, just being like sidekick.
What?
Why did you
psychic?
Yeah, Alexa's psychic.
Oh yeah. Well, they're both. Well, both of them have talked about their costumes to super heroine ideas, if you like. I mean, here's Alexa Bliss, who once tried a what's her name again? I'm not a comic book fan, or at least I don't know enough about comics, and you're probably gonna kill me if what was the villain she tried to be again?
Who?
Alexa Bliss.
Oh, Harley Quinn.
Thank you, Harley Quinn. So yeah, they tried their brush with it, if you like. Eventually, it was down to Banks and Ruby Riott. Ruby Riott played a summer in this, by the way.
They've missed a step by not having her in the ladder match.
You think so?
Yeah, big time.
Well, Ruby takes Banks to the top. It follows up, and then Banks fights off and hits a trapped knee strike, which I love, by the way. That cheeky Nando's knee strike is actually class. Powerbomb follows, then the Banks Sabin. The Riott squads arise with distraction. Ruby tries to roll up Banks, but she counters into another Banks Sabin and makes Ruby tap, and that puts Ruby in the match. And it was actually a solid main event. I mean, the closing stretch was the best part. I agree with you, though. I think we're missing Ruby Riott. But the thing is, as well, because Ruby Riott is still very closely associated with the Riott squad, Like, do you feel that if she was in the match, it would probably be it will sort of force their interference, which could ruin the match? Which I imagine a lot more people complain of.
I don't think so at all. I think could add to it.
Think could add to it?
Yep.
Ah, sure. Well, it should be an interesting match all the same. But that's everyone now booked for the both ladder matches now, isn't it?
Yes.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I have no idea who's in all overall. It's 6 each, isn't it? Or 3 each? 8 each.
Oh, 4 each. Sorry, 4 each.
4 each.
4 each. Yeah, they're both 8 women in the match and 8 men in the match.
Should be interesting.
Yeah.
And there's a tag team one as well, isn't there? So imagine.
No, there's not.
Isn't it?
No, there's not.
Oh no, I'm overthinking again. I thought it was a tag team one for some reason. No, then the B team thing would make no sense. Anyway, move on to SmackDown.
On to the Rock Show, to the premiere show, SmackDown.
And it starts with Samoa Joe, who is, in my opinion, now turning into the best promo in WWE.
Yeah.
He comes out, then gets biblical, and talks about the meaning of the ladder, salvation and heaven. But
I like that little combination.
But not in his version.
Yeah.
He climbs the ladder, and he says he will climb the ladder and rain down on SmackDown and the champion, shaking the brand to its core, and he'll prove to Bryan that there are worse things than forced retirements. He tells him to call his wife Brie and have her tell her daughter a story about Daddy will be home and Money in the Bank, but he won't be the same man. Here comes Daniel Bryan, outraged as he is, saying, "You've crossed the line, talk about my wife and daughter like that again, I'll break your leg." They go out, looks like they're going to have a fight until Big Kaz limps his way out.
To a chorus of boos. And I think what they're doing with Cass now is they're pulling a blinder.
Okay, explain.
Well, they obviously want Cass to be the heel. It's very hard nowadays for heels to be heels.
So that's a good point, especially considering Joe, who
Joe's meant to be a heel, but he's over as AF. He's over AF. Now you know what that means. Now I don't have to explain to it again.
He's very over for a heel.
Exactly, and all the
he's like the anti-Roman Reigns.
All the best heels were.
Like he's like the opposite to Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
makes
all
sense.
the best heels are. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are meant to be heels, but they're so over.
Are they?
Yes, they are.
Well,
yes, they are. Come on.
Well, okay, fair enough. But Samoa Joe is the opposite to Roman Reigns, because here's Reigns, who's supposed to be the babiest of baby faces and is horrifically booed, more or less.
So what they're trying to do is they're trying to fix it. They're trying to obviously shape it in a way that they need to get the heel to be booed. What you need to do to get the heel booed: put him against one of your top baby faces that is actually getting cheered. Daniel Bryan.
Right.
Perfect. Brilliant. Put them together. Have him keep interrupting and keep ruining Daniel Bryan's chances. Crowd hates him even more. The reaction he got when he came out of that was perfect, where they're just about to fight. Who comes out? Big Cass. Heel. Oh, I hate that guy. Exactly. You hate that guy because he's a heel. He's a proper heel. It's going back to their old ways where you hated the bad guys and you liked the good guys. It's not this thing where the crowd likes the bad guys because they're saying awesome things or they're doing awesome things in matches. This is proper heel work, and I love that they figured out a way to do it.
No, it's not that. No, I agree with you, and I don't think his inclusion doesn't make sense. I think it does make sense in that case. However, when you have someone like Joe and Bryan who together can pull a great promo, isn't really needed.
Yeah, it needs. Because like you're saying, they pulled a great promo. Everyone is enjoying this program between Daniel Bryan and Joe. Everyone gets Daniel Bryan and Joe. Everyone thinks that it's going to be those two, and everyone's going to be happy because these two were great wrestlers. They're great promos. They're going to have a fantastic match. You add Big Cass into that, there you go. He's a heel.
You're right.
Nobody wanted Big Cass in the match. Everybody's pissed that he's in the match. But the difference is in him being just like trying to book him as a proper heel and overbooking him is, as we found out later on, he didn't win the match. The heel actually didn't win the match, but he's still the heel. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. He comes out and says that this is his chance and Bryan's second chance. Crap, it has to stop. He said he spoke to Paige, and it's not going to be Bryan and Joe. It's going to be he wants to face Joe when he's cleared, which is tonight, and he lays out Joe with his crutch and then Bryan with his suitcase, and then that's the match. Yeah.
Actual headshots as well. Did you see that?
Well, it hit his shoulder.
Yeah, but it was aiming for the head.
It was very clever how he did it, how Bryan sold it. He let his shoulder and looked like he hit him in the head.
Yeah.
That's actually very clever how he does that. I would love to see more people to try and do that now. So, especially
Well, you
in
can get away with it with like a briefcase, not with a chair. That's why it's probably just all back shots.
Even so, like to do that and sell a head contact like that is pretty cool. Like so. Now, Shinsuke Nakamura against Ty Dillinger, the ironic 10 counts. It was a solid match. Like, I do like the way Nakamura is doing
like
the counts.
Dillinger's new look.
He's basically done a skirl.
Yeah,
it's very similar to what Marty Skrull did when he cut his man bun off.
Yeah, he has a back though now.
What?
Marty Skrull, he has a back now though.
I know, but it's basically like what Skrull was.
Yeah,
like earlier on. Like it suits him.
Okay,
it suits him. Like I can complain. Like so, sometimes a fresh look is what's needed. Sometimes.
Exactly.
But no, like it was a solid match. But in the end, it was Dillinger looking for a modified tiebreaker. Nakamura cuts him off, heads to the ropes, hits a knee strike. King Shasta hits another one post match and then wins then and then hits another one post match and counts to 10 like a relay hole. After the match, Nakamura says he saw what Nakamura did and something snapped in Nakamura and now he's more dangerous than he's ever been. And he says that's the story of his life though, being underestimated because he fights smarter and harder than his opponents, which is why he doesn't back down. So it makes more for the match. So I you know, because of all these matches they've had in the past, and although it seems very anticipated, do you fear the worst now of how this match is going to go? Or is it just me? Maybe I'm overthinking it.
No, I actually think this will be the end of it, and I think they'll put on a decent match and have a proper finish now.
No, but the proper match now, not just
yes, this will be the proper match now, I think.
Right.
Yeah, I have my hopes high because the last two matches have been good, just the finishes have been iffy.
That's true.
So now there's going to have to be a finish. So I think they'll continue on having a great match, and then we'll get the finish to boo.
What do you think of Lana and Naomi's dance off?
Where did this come from?
Oh no, it's like when John Cena and Rikishi had their rap off, like it's like those old bits now. Or even recently when Usos and New Day had their rap off, it's something different and something that both showed their strengths on. They both were dancers in their pre-wrestling days, so
yeah, true.
So both pulling off some moves. Lana with her spinner Rudy. Here's and God, like Corey Graves, like credit to him, he criticized the Jay's of Naomi's dancing. You call this dancing?
Yes, because he has a history when it comes to dancing, so he knew all about it.
Oh really?
No, that's what he said.
Oh, I thought you were telling the truth.
You silly man.
Oh, I can't read sarcasm sometimes.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're both dancing together at one stage until Lana attacked Naomi with a neck breaker, and then she ended up slapping Jimmy, and then the Usos Naomi clearing the ring, and that's that. Probably lead to a 6-man next week. The New Day versus the Baron Miz, aka Pancake-a-Mania. Because I think I had one stage before the match where Miz trying to avoid.
Miz was trying to be like Luke Skywalker in A New Hope, trying to avoid it and trying to smash away the pancakes because he had the blindfold over his eyes, and then obviously it was, what was the waiter's name in it? They gave the waiter a name.
I missed that.
Yeah, they gave the waiter a name. Anyway, yeah, they got delivered the pancakes anyway, and Big E tasted them. He approved of them, and then they took the pancakes. Yeah.
So, so they have Luke Miz Walker, and then I don't know who you could call the other two. You could call the bar Obi-Wan Cesaro, which has a ring to it.
Obi-Wan Shame Obi?
Obi-Wan Cesaro. No?
Okay, Obi-Wan Cesaro.
Or, I don't know
then,
who else. Anakin Sheamus.
Why'd you have Anakin?
I don't know.
No. Han Sheamus.
Han Sheamus.
And, Cesaro.
Yes! Cesaro, so much better.
Yeah.
So it's like alright Chewie, you ready to, like, alright Cesaro, you ready to try the
Cesaro.
Yeah, and here is Cesaro. What do we call
Cesaro.
it? Cesaro.
Cesaro.
Oh, Cesaro going in the background. So there you go.
Because his teeth has gone back up into his mouth again.
There you go. This was actually a really good match. Actually, the crowd really reacted to really reacted great to this match. Like, and it was one of these matches. Like, it reminds me of the match at WrestleMania between Rousey and Angle and Triple H and Steph, where there's so much action, the crowd reacts to it, and it's just like one thing after happening after
the
happening.
crowd were so into this match.
That's what I mean. It's
It's
that sort of matches where one spot follows in and it just clicks. Like, that's the perfect WWE match in that sense, where like everything reacts just like that. That's their perfect form of a match, where they have moments after moment after moments happening like that. Like, it's like spot. So what happened was, though, Woods runs wild, takes out Miz. Sheamus then posts himself. Roods then goes into hits a step-in dive, which actually is class the way he does that. Back in, Tornado DDT on Sheamus. Woods back on top, distracts Miz. Then with Woods fights off a neutralizer. Big E then hits a double team backstabber for 2. Big E then looks for the big ending, but Miz tags in, hits a short DDT. Breaks down on Woods, gets taken out to the floor. Kofi wipes out the bar with a dive. Big ending on Big E on Miz. That's stats. It was a lot of fun. It was a fun type of match. And as I said to you before, that's WWE's best kind of match that they can put on, like, you know, in any way, shape or form.
Yeah, for sure. I think these guys are probably the ones that... what was I going to say? Sorry, move on, and if I remember, I'll come back to it.
Good Brothers were interviewed by Renee, where Anderson was talking about how his hot Asian wife loves his abs, and they buried the hatchet with the Usos with a few beers and got some advice on how to handle the Bludgeon Brothers. Well, meanwhile, Bludgeon Brothers appeared in some sort of cryptic promo.
Yeah.
It's like they're turning into Bray Wyatt, while Bray Wyatt is turning into Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
Literally.
Shall we move on?
Asuka.
That's all we need to talk about with that.
Asuka versus Mandy Rose, aka the Hana Kotoba, which basically is a Japanese flower rose, Japan. It was a good match actually. Like, it started off with Deville attacking Asuka from behind. Now, when was the last time we saw a match where Asuka was coming from behind after being attacked? Never, as far as I can recall.
No.
So it was a solid with the pre-match attack, allowing Rose to get some believable control. Because let's be honest, that's probably the only way she could get control over someone like Asuka.
Yeah.
And Mandy Rose, she continues to improve. Like, we talked about how good Sonya Deville's gotten. Mandy Rose is right up there.
Yeah.
She's really getting like a couple next year, if not the year after, she'll be in the title picture.
Yeah, I have an idea though of what's going to happen, and I think it could be a good idea for them to do it.
Okay.
Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville are going to align themselves with Carmella.
Think so?
Yeah. It's the only way for Carmella to actually win the match against Asuka and not have Asuka look weak.
Maybe. That could work actually. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Rose battled with a clothesline, but then Asuka got in the cradle for 2, and then the Asuka lock followed after several attempts, and then Rose tapped out from there. Carmella then confronted Asuka and posed with the championship afterwards. Backstage was a bit of a weird conversation between Charlotte and Becky. They were both disagreeing on each other winning the Money in the Bank match until Paige arrives with some awkward conversation, and so it seems to be setting up for the match for next week, which it was. Andrade Almas met up with Sin Cara backstage, and Selena Vega interrupted, telling her basically to back off, and so it brings a bit of tension for that. So imagine, do you think that'd be a cool angle actually, if Almas is involved with maybe the Mexican lads on Smackdown?
Yeah, I think, who was it? Rey Mysterio was saying that the other day.
Yeah.
He wanted to come back and have a Latino faction.
Are they booking it now?
Sort of similar to, who was it in Impact? LAX, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Latin American Exchange or something.
So basically the LWO 2.0.
Latin World Order.
The Latino World Order.
Latino World Order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could work.
It could work. I think leaving Andre by himself at the moment is the best option. Just let him do his thing. Okay. That's all he needs to do.
All right.
Nothing else. Just
okay.
Keep him doing his thing, you know?
Okay.
Put him in a decent program soon, because don't have him in a program with, who was it, Sin Cara.
Yeah.
It's just, no, it's not going to work.
Do you remember what you were going to say, by the way, about New Day and Baron Miz?
No, sorry, I'm still stuck on the Cesaro sort of part of it.
Use the Force, Daragh.
Use the Force. Sheamus. Sheamus solo.
Then Daniel Bryan versus Samoa Joe versus Big Cass in a Money in the Bank qualifier, aka the Broken Third Wheel. Again, this was the Triple Threats formula works in this case, and it was a good match.
I
and
really enjoyed this match.
Yeah, it gave everyone a chance to shine. That's what I'm trying to say. And the right man won in Joe, in my opinion. Because But again, he's on fire right now.
Exactly. Like, everyone wanted Daniel Bryan in the match, and also it's a good way of cementing the fact that Joe's a heel as well.
Does it make sense now that Kaz, it looks like they're going to continue the rivalry with Daniel Bryan? Like,
Well,
no,
you did only have one match. You do have to have another one.
so are you for that now? Because again, it's a proper heel against a proper face now.
It depends on how they book it for the rest of it. Like, I'm more open-minded to it than I was at the start, especially when they had their first match. The fact that they're booking cast like this way, and hopefully they can have a better match with it.
Daragh, look at you. You're turning more as positive as I am.
I know. I don't know what it is. It might have been the weather playing with my mind.
Yeah, you're telling me. Yeah. Well, it looked like what happened was Bryan took out Joe with the apron knee strike, hit the big Kaz with missile drop kick, and was about to, and then hit the running knee before Joe then came out of nowhere and got the clinch on Bryan as he faded away, and that was that. So that's that. So it builds up now, everything more or less from both ends now. Raw and SmackDown going into the Money in the Bank match. So
Yeah, pretty much.
it should be interesting now. Now
Well, not necessarily, because Jeff still doesn't have an IC title challenger.
I mean a US title challenger.
Yeah, US title challenger.
That could be a pre-match thing, the way that's going so far. And he wasn't on SmackDown, so there's probably no way to book it up now.
I think
anyway.
he still has an injury though, doesn't he?
Does he?
Yeah, there's reports that he has an injury. So
Anyway, 205 Live. We're unable to talk about NXT because we're recording this at a part of the week where NXT isn't out yet, so that's just us, but what can we do? 205 Live, though, was interesting this week. The Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher against Kalisto and then Dorado. So, they're booking it very cleverly. I said this for... You actually got to see the highlights before we went on air, so... And it works because it's the scientific wrestling against the high flyers. And that's a natural rivalry that's going to come into 205 Live, I think. And regardless, there's so many options from both ends. It's one that works either way, if you ask me.
yeah, I don't find the Latino house party thing too engaging, only because I hate those new promos that WWE are doing now. You know, where the guys are holding the camera to their face and then it's just...
So basically a selfie
the
promo.
words, yeah, the words are popping up and everything.
Oh, no, don't tell me they're doing that for this as well.
I hate that. I hate it so much.
Please tell me not doing this for these guys.
They didn't have the words pop up, but they had the Latino house party thing at the start.
That's different.
In the funky, groovy writing. But no, I don't.
But they're not doing lyric videos for their promos, are they?
Not yet.
Oh, please!
I don't know why they think that's a thing that works.
No.
I don't mind the guys holding the phone to themselves doing a promo like that. Absolutely fine.
See, it works.
But it's those stupid words that pop up
It works in Japan because it's Japan.
Yeah, that's Japan's culture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't like. It's strange. It boggles my mind that they try something like that. So.
I don't mind them trying it, but the fact they keep persisting with it.
The only way that would make sense for them is if it was translated in Spanish.
Yeah.
Then it would make sense because they are a Lucha House Party.
Well, exactly. If they were speaking in Spanish, that'd be fine. But I think obviously they're still speaking in English because it's always just Kalisto doing the promos anyway. So
yeah, but it was a good match though. Drew Gulak was at ringside. Lethal Injection Suicide Dive came from Kalisto, and it's Dorado on top, I should say, and he came on top, and then Gulak distracted them, allowing Kendrick to get the captain's hook for the win. It was a solid opener, and it sets up now a different alliance now between Gulak, Gallagher, and Kendrick. Three very good scientific wrestlers, so that works for me now. Natural rivalry now between these two teams now. So now, obviously, for me, this was the match of the weekend. I thought the whole week, I should say. Cedric Alexander, Buddy Murphy, Cruiserweight title.
Great match.
This is the best match they've done.
Just being able to see the highlights, just seeing that, great match.
By far and away the best match they've done in 205 since the relaunch. Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
Because it was in Cedric Alexander's hometown of Charlotte, North Carolina.
And you'd automatically think he was going to lose the title.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You'd think straight away.
That's the rule that they like to have,
especially but not only that, but also the momentum that Murphy's been getting lately, how well he's been doing. He's shown his mean streak in this match. He showed great aggression against Alexander, especially around the starts. Like some really neat spots included where Alexander fought off, hit an Enziguri, and hit a flatliner onto the apron and spilled to the floor. That would look nasty. I think you tensed a bit when you seen that, actually.
Yeah, that, and when Buddy Murphy just took Cedric Alexander's feet from under him on top of the announce desk And he landed on
Yeah,
that.
that was
Just
bad
because
as
there's
well.
monitors there, I'm always kind of iffy about that.
Because he might hit his head.
He might hit his head or his back or something off the monitor and might dislocate something.
That's it, yeah.
You know, also a tip of the hat to Cedric Alexander for having like a Spider-Man themed attire this week. Peter from the Superior Comic Show would have loved that. So,
I imagine
Peter,
so.
if you are listening, which you should be, watch 205 Live and have a look at Cedric Alexander's gear.
I should make up a song for Cedric Alexander that is in the tone of the original Spider-Man song, but it just won't work. Lumbercheck, lumbercheck. Everyone's afraid of a lumbercheck. No. Moving on. Murphy killed him with the what?
Lumberjack.
See, it's stuck in the head now, isn't it?
No, it's lumbar check.
Lumbar check.
Lumbar check.
Everyone
Gonna hit you
loves
with
a
the lumbar
lumbar check.
Can you escape? No, you can't.
Here
Here
he
it
hits.
comes.
Lumbar check. Hey, hey.
Cedric!
Here comes a
He's-
lumbar check. That's the show title there.
We're never topping that. We just leave.
Murphy almost killed Dan Alexander with a knee strike to a great near fall. But in the end, though, Murphy looks to finish him up, and Alexander hits a neutralizer, and then the lumbar check for the finish. And again, easily the best match 205 had since the had the relaunch. And again, we talk about how a good heel works with a good face. This match is a great example of that. Here, have Murphy, who's a very good heel.
Yep.
Like, you know, he showed very good heel mannerisms. He comes off as a killer who just who works perfectly against a never say die baby face like Alexander.
Yeah.
So again, if you haven't seen this match, lads, watch this match. It's you know, this is a must see match, like in terms of how the cruiserweights, how great they've been now since they've come along now. So
Yeah.
now, before we finish our results of the week, we just literally got news whilst we're here about the official bracket now for the WWE UK tournament. So you have it in front of you there. So
I do have it in front of me here. Yeah,
So
it's a
check us
very interesting bracket.
All right.
So we'll start from the left-hand side, okay? So
okay,
first match in the bracket is Zach Gibson against Amir Jordan. Now, we already knew who's facing who, but we don't know who could possibly face who afterwards, providing they go
Okay.
through. So the left side of the bracket, it's Zach Gibson against Amir Jordan, okay? Whoever wins that could possibly face Drew Gulak or Zach Gallagher in the next round. Very interesting.
that's very interesting.
Going further down the bracket, then the other two matches on the left hand side would be Flash Morgan Webster against James Drake. The winner of that will face the winner of Tyson T-Bone and Jordan Devlin.
Okay,
So we could get a Jordan Devlin, Zach Gibson or Jack Gallagher maybe semi-final.
oh,
That's very interesting.
That's very interesting.
That is very, very interesting. Also, you could get a Jordan Devlin, Vash Morgan Webster in the next round, or James Drake, you know, providing he goes through. Then, obviously, going into the other side of the bracket on the right hand side, first on that would be Tucker against Joe Coffey. The winner of that will face the winner of Dave Mastiff and Kenny Williams. So you could get a Joe Coffey versus Dave Mastiff next round match. That's very interesting.
yeah, Scotland against Scotland's there. So
No, Dave Mastiff's English.
no, sorry, I meant Joe Coffey. Sorry.
Yeah, if Kenny Williams goes through, then Scotland against Scotland.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
And then the other one there would be Ligaro, and not El Ligaro, don't get that mixed up. Ligaro against Travis Banks, of course, and the winner of that will face the winner of Aston Smith against Joseph Connors. So you could get like a Joe Coffey, Travis Banks semi-final there as well. It's interesting. The likes of Jordan Devlin is being kept away from like Tucker and Joe Coffey and Travis Banks and Ligero, which is very interesting, and especially because if Jordan did go all the way, a final against the likes of a Travis Banks or something like that, or even a Dave Mastiff maybe or something, would be a very good final.
If that chart, then can you predict the semi-finals? I'm not going to predict a finalist or a winner, but maybe semi-finals at least.
Semi-finals.
So who'll be the top four?
I'm going to go. This first semi-final will be Jack Gallagher against Jordan Devlin.
Right.
And in the other semi-final, I'm going to go Ligaro against... It's a toss-up between Joe Coffey and Dave Mastiff for me, I think.
Think so?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Zach Gibson against Jordan Devlin.
Okay.
And Dave Mastiff against Travis Banks.
Ooh, you think Banks is going to go through?
I have a feeling.
I think they might keep Ligero around.
Think so?
Yeah, just for his high-flying ability and stuff like that.
Maybe. That's a good point, actually. They had Mark Andrews around the end at the last tournament, so that's a good point.
Saying that, Kenny Williams could actually still make
Jordan
it
could do high flying anyway. So.
Jordan can do high flying, but he's not known for it.
That's true, yeah. He's more of a, I don't know, he's more of a technical
He's an
wrestler.
all-rounder. Yeah, he's
all rounder. That's the one, yeah. So definitely an interesting couple of matches coming up. But that's all the results for the week anyway. When you return, we will talk about our previews of the week after a short break.
In the future, roving bands of comic book podcasts will savage the wasteland, once known as the Internet. One podcast, the Grawlix Podcast, may not be the biggest, may not be the funniest, may not be the most well-spoken. Wait, what was my point again? Oh yes, the Grawlix Podcast. Listen to it at grawlixpodcast.com. That's GRAWLIX podcast.com.
We're back here on the kick out. Are you serious right now?
Here comes Cedric.
Lumbar check. Here goes our lumbar check. I don't have to say we've created a monster here. What can I say? Cedric, here comes the lumbar check. Look, turn it off now. We're back here on the Kick Out, your weekly pro wrestling guides, and as soon as you turn off the Cedric Alexander Spider-Man song. No, I'll tell you what, this is dominate the show. What can I say? Cedric, here comes the lumbar check. Here comes the lumbar check. Something check. You finished?
Yes.
Good. Let's move on now with our previews of the week.
What? Look at what we have here, folks!
So obviously we have don't turn that on again. I can see the smile on your face.
I'm not going to turn it on again.
I know it's tempting, but we have to talk about a bunch of previews coming up now. So obviously tonight, or on Saturday, June 2nd, it's actually a lot of wrestling is going to be happening across the country. First of all, in Cork, CCW Revolution 6, their biggest show of the year, is going to be happening in the Common Inns Hotel in Cork. Tickets are available on eventbrite.ie. Did you see their press conference, by the way?
The promo, yes.
The full video is up on is up on their page. We shared it on our Facebook page at facebook.com/KickoutWrestling. It's cool because they all talked about their different matches, and it was interesting with Lita at the end, like, you know. So
yeah,
he seemed very angry to accept his match in the end, but we'll see what happens. So the matches include Lee Callahan will indeed take on his former establishment teammate Lycan in a death match. There's going to be a 20-man memorial battle royale in memorial for Dan O'Mahony. Now, we only talked to Lee about this last week. Dan O'Mahony is actually the first Irish-born World Wrestling Champion. Do you know?
Oh, okay.
And he's from Cork, apparently, so that's what the matches involved includes. So the likes of Flight Mode,
in Super Nintendo Bros.
The Super Nintendo Bros, and both members of Therapy, Gunter Isaac and Billy Bedlam have all announced their inclusion in this match. Other matches include Vic Viper to be challenged by Bruiser for the CCW All-Star title. Raven Creed and Debbie Cattell go at it one last time for the CCW Women's title. In a bit of a dream match, if you like, Doug Williams will take on Paul Tracy one-on-one. The Armstrongs will defend their CCW tag titles against Rough Stuff. And in a fatal four-way elimination match for the vacant CCW heavyweight title, it'll be between Ricky Combat, Danny the Beast Butler, Lewis Garvin, and Justy. So interesting matches, like, you know. So I'm interested in that heavyweight title match in particular. Like, that could go either way. I mean, all four of those guys have a legitimate shout of it, like, you know. Yeah. So
I made my prediction a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to stick to it.
All right, sticking with Justy.
Sticking with Justy.
Also happening here in Dublin on June 2nd is OTT, A Haven of Monsters, which will be taking place at the Tivoli Theatre in Dublin. Tickets are available on eventbrite.ie. A lot of really cool matches announced. The team of A-Team and Adam Chase from Team White Wolf will be taking on Darren Carney and Nathan Martin from Morton Hype. In a 6-man tag team match, Mark Haskins, Pete Dunne and a mystery partner will take on the 6 members of the Rapture, Zach Gibson, Chas Samuels and Charlie Sterling.
Mark Haskins, Pete Dunne, and who do you think?
Your guess is as good as mine. Do you have any idea who it could be? Or who'd you like to see?
Tyler
Bates? No, he's in the match. He's already in the
match. He's in a match with Jordan, isn't he?
No, he's going to be challenging for the OTT gender neutral title with Chris Wolf against LJ Cleary.
Who could be then?
It could be anybody.
Yeah.
Because it's Mark Haskins, I'm going to say Jimmy Havoc.
Wouldn't be a bad idea. Yeah.
Or Flash Morgan Webster.
I know who.
Go. Someone whose name you don't know.
No, this is throwing it way out there because I don't
Go
know.
for it. Just go
I
for
don't
it.
know if they're going to be back in
Just
time
go
for
for it. Just go for it.
Martina.
That's a good call. That could be it. I think
Everything's shaping up for a Martina return because like Low Key's going to be there and everything. So
that's a good point. What bigger monster, I suppose, than Martina?
I don't know.
That's a good guess, though, man.
Yeah.
The crowd would pop if it was her anyway.
Yeah.
Other matches includes Dan Barry, who apparently is like a comedic wrestler, so he's going to be taking on Be Cool. Damon Corvin to take on Sean Guinness, and that's an interesting match because that's one of the first matches ever to happen in OTT, like back when they were first starting. So it's
there's a really good promo of that on.
I seen that,
Corvin's Twitter, isn't there?
Yeah, just seen that. Of course, the main event. Walter and Low Key, both making their OTT debuts, will take on the team of Jordan Devlin and David Starr. Also, guest commissioner for both the shows in Dublin and in Belfast will be Trent Seven. Now, Trent Seven, who unfortunately was unable to participate in the triple threat match for the gender neutral title, which has now been filled by Tyler Bates, is still going to be coming to OTT as commissioner, and everyone loves Trent Seven.
Everyone loves Trent.
We all love Trent Seven. Like, so that's a class thing to still have him there. He'll also be commissioner for OTT's Live in Belfast show happening Sunday, June 3rd at the Europa Hotel in Belfast. There's tickets available on eventbrite.ie. Matches announced includes Adam Flex Maxted will take on Pete Dunne 1-on-1. The guys from White Wolf will be in action against this time Sean Guinness and Scotty Davis. That's an interesting match.
Yeah.
In a rematch then, I'm not sure if it's for the tag titles or not, it will be all three members of the Kings of the North, Corvin, Bonesaw and Disorderly, to take on the Rapture. I don't know if it's for the tag titles or not. Another interesting 6-man tag, the Mongols will take on More Than Hype, all three members of More Than Hype. So like that, their rivalry's been brewing for a while. It's about time we actually saw a match between them now, so
exactly,
should be cool now. Jordan Devlin will take on Tyler Bate 1-on-1, and in a rubber match between the two, Tucker will take on Curtis Murray. They're 1-on-1
also Debbie Cotel against Katie Harvey
for the
for nothing. Just there's a match in Belfast between them.
Oh yeah, right. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, it's a good match actually, isn't it? So it should be an interesting match there ahead. The guys from Low Blows are going to be having their New Japan Pro Wrestling Dominion show, also showing CM Punk versus Mike Jackson at Buskers in the Ball on Saturday, June 9th in Temple Bar. The ticket's still available on eventbrite.ie. It's free, of course, for Low Blows Network subscribers. No Temple Bar prices on booze. Pool prizes. They've announced a King of the Ring style pool contest for that, I think. I don't know if you've seen that on Facebook yourself.
I did, yeah.
Other entertainment after, which will run till late.
King of the Rack, wasn't it?
That's exactly what it's called, yeah. So it should be interesting. And finally, on Sunday, June 17th, OTT Contenders will be having its 10th show. Can you believe it's their 10th already?
No.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, isn't it?
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Show.
OTT Contenders International Invasion will be happening at June 17th in the Ringside Club National Stadium in Dublin. Tickets are just released this week on eventbrite.ie. Only 2 matches announced so far. Naomi Tanazaki, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, will take on Sean Guinness. I think they fought each other before in Japan. And Evil Uno will take on the new NLW champion Terry Thatcher 1-on-1. So some interesting matches ahead there. But that's all our previews of the week. Now let's finish off our show now with our yes no's.
Yes, no! Yes, no! Yes, no!
So there's a few to bring up this week. Now obviously we talked about Tony Storm going to be likely involved in the Mae Young Classic coming up. But Tony Storm and Jeannie, who won the Progress Women's title just recently, to both appear at the WWE UK tournament card. There's rumours of a 6-woman tag of some sort of women's match going to be involved in that, and 2 of them are participants.
Not too sure about that one. I'm going to say no, because I haven't heard much about it. Yeah.
I'd like it to happen. I'm going to say I've heard rumours that there's a Fatal 4-Way going to be involved. There's none of the two other ladies, like Tony Storm and Jeannie, the ones that are known to me, certainly, but certainly be a good addition. Now, I don't know if you heard this yourself now. We didn't really talk about this in the news, but Cody Rhodes is having a bit of made a challenge to Nick Aldis for the All In show.
About it. Yeah.
Now, Cody and Nick Aldis, title for title at All In. Nick Aldis made a stipulation that the only way they'll face each other at All In as if Cody Rhodes is Ring of Honor World Champion by September 1st.
Yes.
The way it's booked, it has to happen.
Yeah.
And because it's booked in Ring of Honor, if it was with NWA, I wouldn't be so sure, but how cool would that be?
I think that'd be really cool.
That'd be so class.
So I'm going to say yes, and it helps give some promotion to the NWA title as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I saw one or two bits of their thing on YouTube. Like, they're doing almost all their stuff in like an audience of like 100, 200 people in Hollywood or something like that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but at least it helps like bring it out more. Like, you know, because
Exactly. Well, see, that's the thing. I know they won't do it with OTT because of the affiliation with WWE, but to have Nick Aldis come over and defend it here somewhere at maybe a Fight Factory show, maybe at CCW, maybe even he did already do it at PWU, as we know.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just bring us somewhere, maybe to Dublin, would be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Jason Jordan to return either before or at Money in the Bank.
Before, so yes.
A reunion with American Alpha?
Yeah, it looks like it.
It only makes sense the way I see it. Like, you know, I know it sort of makes it weird with the whole Kurt Angle
I know,
thing.
I'm just a little disappointed in for Chad, because he does have the talent to actually make it as a singles competitor. Putting him back as a tag team, I think, is going to hinder his development a little bit.
Well, it could be a part-time thing like we talked about last week. It could just be a once-off.
It could just be a once-off, and it'd be a way to bring Jason Jordan back. But
And in a way, it could help both.
Yeah, what you do after that then?
Have one turn the other.
Yeah, it always happens, doesn't it?
Here's a really interesting one. Chris Jericho to go to Impact Wrestling.
They want him, don't
There's
they?
serious rumours about it right now.
Yeah, they want him. He's good friends with Don Callis, so
He's associated with them.
yeah, he can do whatever he wants. We'll see what happens after his Dominion show first, though.
Can you realistically see him being in Impact Wrestling, though?
They're on a good, not run, but they're on the right direction at the moment.
Yeah, they're in the right. Yeah,
They're going the right direction.
you're
So,
intrigued to watch them again. You know,
yeah, I'm not going to watch them, but
I'll be keen to pick them
I'll
now.
keep an eye out for it.
Yeah,
So, like, if Jericho does wind up in the Impact Zone, as they
eyes
call
will be
it,
on the place then.
eyes will be on the place, and probably including mine, because anywhere Jericho wrestles, you want to see it.
Absolutely. We talked about John Morrison being a part of the Survivor show, the new Survivor show. John Morrison to go to New Japan. He'd be a great addition if you ask me.
Yeah, he only just signed with Impact, though.
Yeah, but does that make... Oh, so does that stop him then from going from...
Yeah, because Impact have an association with a different Japanese promotion.
Noah?
No, yeah, Pro Wrestling.
No, wait a second. Didn't Ishimura, he was in Excursion in Impact, so you sure it's not New Japan they're associated with?
He was on Excursion. No, because it was... I think it was Noah, because Eddie Edwards was like Pro Wrestling Noah champion and everything for.
Oh, okay, maybe you're right.
Yeah.
So maybe they go between the two. I don't know, but
Maybe they don't have an affiliation. They just open to let them.
maybe that's it. Yeah. And finally, we talked about this briefly when we talked about SmackDown. Rey Mysterio to return to WWE as part of this faction.
I'd love to see it, but I don't see it happening. But I'll say yes for the meantime. If it is Rey Mysterio coming back to do it,
It's not
it
about
will be to 205 Live.
It's certainly
It won't be to any other show, because the guys are on 205 Live, and he won't put Almas in it, because Almas will not want to be in it unless he's the head of it.
yeah, but
Because he's an LIJ member, not a Latino World Order member. We're giving the name to them already.
you see, that's the thing. Like against someone like Almas, it makes a lot of sense. So I don't know. It could spoil it if it goes. Nothing against having it in 205 Live.
It could be their way of, if they want to. Obviously, they'd have to be a heel, because if you're a faction, you're gonna have to be a heel. So, because I've never seen a face faction. Have you? I've never seen a face faction.
Well, there's technically the Lucha House Party.
They're not faction. They're trio. Faction's like 4 or more. Isn't
Oh, okay.
it? Yeah.
It's been a while actually.
Yeah. So they'd have to be a heel faction. So if they ever wanted to turn Almas face, that'd be the way for them to pushing for Almas, and he'd resisting and stuff like that. But I'm not sure.
Why would they do that when they have when he has Lita Vega though?
Exactly. Why would you go into like a faction?
And
where
he's
you
doing
could
so
be-
well with her.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless she's part of that, and maybe she runs the bits as well. But who knows?
No, keep him by himself with Vega.
Anyway, before we finish up the show, obviously this is our 99th episode of the Kick Out, believe it or not. So I'm it boggles my mind with this far.
It's crazy, isn't it?
So next week is going to be our 100th episode of the Kickouts and our second anniversary. So in celebration of that, we decided before the show started that over the next few days now, before our 100 episodes, we're going to be bringing old shows back on our podcast service. So we haven't decided all the shows yet, but we're going to include our anniversary shows that are not on our streaming system. They're from our old streaming system on Mixcloud. So we haven't got them up officially on iTunes. Yeah. But we'll put them up as basically just a look back. So it'll be our first, our 10th, and our 25th episodes, which are all from 2016 or the end, or
they're early days when we probably sounded a little dodgy.
Yeah, probably, especially the first one.
Yeah,
but so certainly it shows maybe how far we've come and to where we are now, and it's a nice look back in a way. So because we don't really look like we look forward so much what happens in wrestling. In a way, it's cool to look back but I think in the first episode we were talking about the drafts.
I think so, didn't
yeah, or Roman Reigns failing a drug test or something like that. So that was when it was back then. But also on top of that, we're also going to play our top 3 interviews that we've done as well. Again, we haven't decided that yet. So we could probably leave that up to the public to decide that maybe.
Yeah, throw a few votes out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Off the top of my head,
which of the 3 interviews would you like to listen to most?
Yeah, again. So we could, again, there's so many to choose from as well. Like we had Jussie on, we had Rick Nash on, we had Angel Cruz on, we had Jordan Devlin on, we had Martina on, we had Lee Callahan on. There's so much to choose from. So maybe we can ask our listeners maybe to check us out on Twitter, and we go from there. Maybe decide a winner through that.
Yeah, of course.
Cool. But until then, that's all the time we have this week on the Kickouts, your weekly pro wrestling guides, right here on 90.3 Near FM. On the EMC Podcast Network and on all good podcasting providers. Make sure to check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/The Kickout Wrestling, on Twitter at The Kickout Live, on Instagram at The Kickout Wrestling, on our YouTube and Podbeam services. And don't forget to check our Twitters out at Dave Bandana and Darazats.
Mars Bar.
So that's it. So by the time next week will be our first century, essentially.
Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's kind of strange.
A century of shows.
2 years in that.
A century of shows.
A century of shows. You've kind of ruined the title already for it already. So until then, I've been Dave Cullen. He's been Daragh Maher. This has been The Kickout, your weekly pro wrestling guide. Thank you so much for listening.